Have you ever asked for help, then missed it because it didn't come the way you expected? There's an old story I've always found fascinating, not because it's complicated, but because it's painfully simple. And true, a man lived in a quiet riverside town, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone and faith ran deep. He was a devoted believer. He prayed every morning, every night, and trusted fully in God's power to protect and guide him. So when the rains came, he didn't worry. At first, it was just a little water in the streets. People started packing bags. The local news warned that the river was swelling. Evacuation orders were given. But the man stayed. His neighbors begged him to leave. He smiled and said, "Don't worry about me. God will save me." As the rain poured and the river overflowed, water crept up into his house. He moved to the second floor and continued praying. "Lord, I trust you. Please deliver me from this flood. I know you'll come." Not long after, a man in a rowboat came by and shouted up through the open window, "Hey, hop in, this whole place is going under." The man waved him off. "Thank you, but I have faith. God will save me." The rowboat drifted away. Hours passed. The water rose higher, now lapping at the second floor windows. The sky had turned an angry gray. A motorboat with rescue workers pulled up, sirens blaring. "This is your last chance," one of them yelled, "pulling everyone out before it's too late." But the man stood firm. "I'm a man of faith. I'm waiting on the Lord. He will save me." The rescuers, confused and a little frustrated, moved on. Night came. The water had overtaken the house, and the man was now sitting on the roof, shivering under the cold, pounding rain. He looked up at the sky and prayed harder than ever. "God, I'm still waiting. I believe. Please send help." And then a rumble in the distance. A helicopter appeared through the storm clouds, a beam of light cutting through the darkness. It hovered overhead. A rope ladder dropped down. Through a loudspeaker, someone called out, "Grab on! Pull you to safety." The man looked up, eyes full of faith, and called back, "No, thank you. God is going to save me." Eventually, the flood rose too high. The man lost his balance, slipped, and drowned. And then, he arrived in heaven. Down. In this story, the man stands before God, soaking wet and a little stunned. He says, "Lord, I had such faith in you. I prayed. I waited. I trusted you completely. Why didn't you save me?" And God looks at him with that kind of calm, knowing look, the way a parent looks at a child who missed the obvious. He says, "I sent you a rowboat. I sent you a rescue team. I sent you a helicopter. What more were you waiting for?" I love that story because it's so easy to laugh until you realize that man might be you. It might be me. So many of us pray for answers, for direction, for help. We ask for signs. We say, "God, show me what to do. God, open a door." And then, when something shows up, something small or imperfect or unexpected, we turn it away. Maybe it's a job that doesn't look like your dream job, so you dismiss it, even though it could lead to exactly what you need. Maybe it's a friend who reaches out with advice or encouragement, but you brush it off because it wasn't the answer you wanted. Maybe it's an idea, a book, a class, a moment, something small that shows up quietly while you're waiting for something loud and dramatic. We forget that the help we waiting for, docent T, always come wrapped in divine light. Sometimes it comes in the form of a neighbor with a rowboat, second chance, a voice of reason. A rope ladder dropped in the middle of your storm. The problem isn't always that help isn't coming. Sometimes it's that we don't recognize it when it does. Or worse, we refuse it because it didn't match our idea of what divine help should look like. Faith is not sitting on the roof of a flooded house waiting for lightning bolts and choirs of angels. Faith is having the humility and the wisdom to see that sometimes God works through the ordinary, through people, through timing, through the opportunities that seem too small or too flawed to be from heaven. Maybe you've been praying for healing and therapy was offered, but you said no, waiting for God to just fix it. Maybe you've been asking for purpose, and someone asked you to volunteer, or join something but you ignored it because it didn't seem big enough. Maybe you've been crying out for direction, but every time life nudged you through discomfort, through detours, you stood still, arms crossed, waiting for something more obvious. But what if that was the rescue? What if the boat, the team, the helicopter? What if those were your miracles, and you just didn't climb aboard? Sometimes God's answers look like work, like risk, It's like stepping into something that doesn't make perfect sense yet. But ignoring them, waiting for something more glamorous, can leave us stuck or worse, overwhelmed. So maybe the question isn't, why hasn't God answered me? Maybe the better question is, have I already been answered and just didn't listen? Don't miss your rescue because it came in a rowboat. Sometimes the miracle isn't in the thunder, it's in the whisper. Not in the parting sea, but in the stranger with a kind word. Not in the supernatural, but in the perfectly timed ordinary. Keep praying, but keep your eyes open. Help is closer than you think. And your miracle may already be waiting, engine running, rope dangling ready for you to say yes. You just have to get in the boat.